The Grand Admiral of the Galactic Confederation, Thornvell, couldn't contain his amusement as he studied the holographic representation of Earth's newest flagship. The vessel, designated EDF Intrepid by the humans, looked like a primitive assemblage of mismatched components to his practiced eye. Its angular design lacked the elegant biomimetic curves that define proper spacecraft engineering throughout the civilized galaxy. They call this a warship. Thornvell's resonant voice carried across the strategy chamber where the Confederation's high command had gathered. His 6-digit manipulators gestured dismissively at the projection. Look at those exposed heat sinks, the asymmetrical thruster configuration, the laughably inadequate shield emitters. Admiral Ziakor, his second-in-command, analyzed the schematics with more reservation. The humans have only achieved FTL travel within the last 30 cycles, Thornvell, for a species so young. Precisely my point, Thornvell interrupted, his facial ridges pulsing with phosphorescent patterns of condescension. They are children playing at warfare. Their entire fleet combined wouldn't survive an engagement with a single Confederation battle cruiser. The assembled command staff, representing 17 spacefaring species that had united under the Confederation banner millennia ago, nodded in agreement. None had risen to challenge the Confederation's dominance in over 800 cycles. The humans were simply the latest primitives to stumble onto the galactic stage. Still, Ziakor persisted, her compound eyes reflecting the hologram's blue glow. Intelligence suggests they've developed several unconventional technologies. Thornvell waved away her concern. Parlor tricks. Nothing that warrants adjusting our expansion timetable. The Sol system sits at a strategic crossroads we can no longer ignore. Prepare a diplomatic mission. Let's give these humans the opportunity to join us willingly before we demonstrate the alternative. Commander Maya Chen stood at parade rest before the massive viewport of Proxima Station, Earth's furthest permanent outpost and humanity's first true deep space installation. Beyond the reinforced transparasteel, the rusty light of Proxima Centauri bathed the station in an eternal sunset glow. The symbolism wasn't lost on her. Humanity's first steps into a much larger universe, illuminated by alien light. They're here, Commander. Lieutenant Ramirez's voice pulled her from her reverie. Chen nodded, straightening her midnight blue uniform with unconscious precision. At 38, she had climbed rapidly through Earth Defense Force ranks. The scars on her face, remnants from the Mars colony crisis a decade earlier, had long since faded to thin white lines that only served to emphasize her determined expression. Confederation diplomatic vessel Harmonious Accord requesting docking clearance, announced the station's eye. Grant clearance, Athena, Chen ordered. Deploy Welcome Protocol Theta. Theta Protocol was the EDF's polite way of saying trust but verify. For all the diplomatic niceties, this was first contact with the most powerful known civilization in this sector of the galaxy. No chances would be taken. The Confederation vessel that glided into the docking bay was everything the Intrepid was not, a perfect expression of organic engineering. Its pearlescent hull seemed to flow rather than connect, with no visible seams or panels. It resembled a massive nautilus shell, rendered in some exotic metal that caught and refracted Proxima's light in hypnotic patterns. Show-offs, muttered Ramirez. Chen suppressed a smile. Diplomatic faces. Lieutenant. The airlock cycled, and humanity met the Galactic Confederation formally for the first time. Ambassador Vexer had served the Confederation for over 300 cycles and had overseen the integration of 11 pre-FTL civilizations into the galactic community. Humans, he decided immediately, would be problematic. The female commander, shorter than most of her honor guard, but somehow more imposing, met his gaze without the expected deference. The ambassador's neural implants rapidly analyzed her microexpressions and posture, returning troubling results. This human displayed none of the awe or intimidation he had come to expect from developing species. Ambassador Vexer, she greeted him in crisp standard galactic, a language Earth had only received transmission primers for 2 cycles prior. Her pronunciation was flawless. "I am Commander Maya Chen of the Earth Defense Force. Welcome to Proxima Station." Vexor inclined his elongated head, the ceremonial mural filaments adorning his skull shimmering with diplomatic patterns. "Commander Chen, the Confederation extends greetings to your species and congratulations on achieving interstellar capabilities." Chen smiled, but the expression didn't reach her eyes. "We're quick learners, Ambassador." Something in her tone made Vexor reassess his initial evaluation. He had studied the preliminary reports on humans, of course. A bipedal mammalian species with unremarkable physical attributes, a fractious planetary government that had only recently unified, and technological development that had progressed with unusual speed but remained crude by Confederation standards. Yet there was something unsettling about the calm confidence this Commander Chen projected. "I look forward to discussing the terms by which Earth might join the Confederation," Vexor said, moving toward the prepared diplomatic suite. "Your species has much to gain from our 8,000 cycles of accumulated knowledge." "And what does the Confederation gain from us, Ambassador?" Chen asked, falling into step beside him. Vexor's neural filaments rippled with brief surprise before he controlled them. Most primitive species didn't immediately question the obvious benefits of Confederation membership. "Your system occupies a strategic position," he replied smoothly. "And new perspectives always bring valuable diversity to our collective knowledge." "Strategic to whom, I wonder?" Chen murmured, just loudly enough for him to hear. The diplomatic reception proceeded according to standard protocols, but Grand Admiral Thornvell, monitoring from the flagship Indomitable Will in high orbit around Proxima, found himself increasingly irritated by Ambassador Vexor's reports. "They're being deliberately obtuse," Thornvell complained to Admiral Ziakor. "3 full cycles of negotiations, and they still hedge about accepting Confederation authority. It's as if they believe they have a choice in the matter." Ziakor studied the latest intelligence briefing with thoughtful clicks of her mandibles. "Perhaps they do not understand their position. Their astronomical knowledge is limited. They may not realize how isolated they are, how easily they could be bypassed by our trade routes. Or neutralized entirely," Thornvell added darkly. The transmission alert chimed, and Ambassador Vexor's holographic form materialized before them. "The situation has deteriorated," the ambassador reported without preamble. "The humans have rejected our final integration proposal. Worse, they claim to have detected our survey teams in their outer system." Thornvell's bioluminescence flashed with anger. "Impossible. Our stealth field technology is beyond their detection capabilities." Nevertheless, Vexor continued, they presented detailed telemetry data tracking 3R observation vessels. Commander Chen delivered what she termed a final warning against unauthorized incursions. "She has requested my departure within 1 planetary rotation." Thornvell rose to his full height, towering over the holographic display. "These primitives dare to issue ultimatums to the Confederation. It seems a demonstration of proper galactic hierarchy is required. Recall your diplomatic team, Ambassador. Admiral Ziakor, prepare a pacification fleet." After Vexor's hologram faded, Ziakor approached her superior cautiously. "The standard protocol calls for a measured response. These humans need to understand their place." Thornvell cut her off. "Their system is too valuable to leave in primitive hands, and their attitude suggests they cannot be peacefully integrated. We will deploy the 7th Battle Group." "The 7th? Ziakor's antennae twitched in surprise. That level of force against a pre-integration species is unprecedented. Thornvell's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with finality. "This species is unusually recalcitrant. Besides, the 7th needs combat experience, and this will be little more than a training exercise. Analyze their defenses one last time, though I expect nothing of consequence." Inside the secure command center of Proxima Station, Commander Chen watched the Confederation diplomatic vessel depart with grim satisfaction. "They took the bait," Lieutenant Ramirez observed. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display where the much larger Confederation warships were moving into attack formation. That arrogant ambassador never once considered we might be deliberately provoking them. Admiral Winter's hologram appeared on the command deck. The grizzled veteran who commanded Earth's defense forces looked troubled. Fleet intelligence confirms the Confederation is deploying their 7th battle group. That's 16 capital ships, Commander. More firepower than everything we've built combined. That's what we wanted, sir, Chen replied. Let them commit to overwhelming force. Let them believe this will be easy. Winters nodded reluctantly. The full Defense Council has approved Operation Trojan Horse. You have command authority for the Proxima defensive action. The Intrepid and her sister ships are at your disposal, and Project Mobius, deployed as requested. Dr. Takahashi reports all systems nominal. Chen turned to face her bridge crew, each chosen specifically for this mission. Humanity's first true interstellar conflict. The Confederation believes we're primitive upstarts who don't understand our place in the galaxy, she told them. They've studied our visible technology and dismissed it. They're confident this will be a short, one-sided demonstration of their superiority. She allowed herself a thin smile. Let's show them how wrong they are. Across the Proxima system, concealed human vessels powered up systems unlike anything the Confederation had encountered before. On the Intrepid, the quantum fold drive, a technology the Confederation considered theoretically impossible, initiated its startup sequence. Throughout the system, gravitic sensor arrays that had been disguised as mining equipment locked onto Confederation vessels with precision the aliens believed beyond human capability. The trap was set. The Confederation's overwhelming force was about to encounter humanity's hidden strengths. In the cold darkness of space, 16 Confederation capital ships moved into attack formation around Proxima Station, their elegant organic forms gleaming with lethal promise. They had no way of knowing they were already surrounded. Grand Admiral Thornhill stood on the command deck of the Indomitable Will, his bioluminescent patterns glowing with anticipation as he surveyed the tactical display. The 7th Battle Group had deployed in perfect formation around the human outpost, a beautiful, deadly flower blooming in the void. Final assessment of human defensive capabilities, he asked, almost bored with the formality of it. Admiral Ziyakor consulted her data terminal. The station's shielding is primitive kinetic barrier technology. Their 3 warships in system are all using conventional reaction drives. We detect standard electromagnetic targeting systems and what appear to be chemical propellant missile weapons. A ripple of amusement passed through the command staff. Chemical propellants. Sub-Commander Vrex clicked his mandibles in disbelief. They're firing explosives at us. As I said, Thornville's voice carried a note of patronizing certainty. Children playing at warfare. Open a broadcast channel to their station. The communications officer complied, and Thornville straightened to his full imposing height, knowing his image would now be transmitting to the human command center. This is Grand Admiral Thornville of the Galactic Confederation. Your rejection of our generous integration terms and your hostile actions against our observation vessels constitute a violation of Confederation space law. Surrender your station and vessels immediately and prepare for occupation and pacification. The view screen remained blank for several moments before flickering to life. Commander Chen appeared, looking remarkably calm for someone facing overwhelming odds. Grand Admiral, she acknowledged with a slight nod. The Earth Defense Force rejects your assertion of authority over sovereign human territory. Proxima Station will not surrender. Thornville's facial ridges pulsed with irritation. You face 16 capital ships, Commander. Your entire species possesses nothing that can stand against even one of them. This defiance is irrational. Chen's expression didn't change. Perhaps you should check your long-range scanners, Admiral. Thornville gestured sharply to his sensor officer, who quickly consulted his instruments. Nothing, Grand Admiral, the officer reported. Their primitive scanning technology must be malfunctioning. Chen actually smiled now. No, Admiral. Your sensors are the ones malfunctioning. You've been seeing what we wanted you to see. Her image vanished, replaced by the station's emblem. Thornvell turned to Ziakor. Commence the attack. Target their warships first, then disable the station's propulsion and communications. Weapons locked. Admiral, the tactical officer confirmed. Firing solution. A proximity alarm suddenly shrieked across the command deck. The tactical display flickered, then reconfigured itself as new data flooded in. Impossible, Ziakor whispered. Where moments before the sensors had shown only 3 human vessels, now 37 warships appeared on the display. They had seemingly materialized from nowhere, already inside the Confederation formation. Stealth technology, Thornvell demanded, his bioluminescence pulsing with shock. How could they possibly? Not stealth, the science officer interrupted, voice tight with alarm. Quantum signatures indicate they weren't physically present until just now. That's not possible, Thornvell roared. Another alert sounded as the ship's defensive AI detected targeting locks from multiple vectors. Before anyone could react, the human vessels opened fire. Commander Chen watched from Proxima Station's command center as Operation Trojan Horse unfolded exactly as planned. The Mobius fold had worked perfectly, allowing Earth's true defensive fleet to remain phased slightly out of normal spacetime until the precise moment of attack. Quantum reemergence successful, Lieutenant Ramirez reported. All 37 vessels reporting combat-ready status. The Confederation fleet is completely surrounded. The look on that admiral's face, Captain Yoshida of the EDF Intrepid commented via holographic link, her lips curved in a satisfied smile. Worth every credit we spent on this operation. Chen nodded. Status of the Gravity Lance. Charged and ready, Yoshida confirmed. Target locked on their flagship. The Gravity Lance represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a weapon that manipulated spacetime itself, creating micro-singularities that could penetrate any known shielding technology. The Confederation, with all its millennia of advancement, had never developed anything like it because their entire scientific paradigm considered such manipulation impossible. Fire when ready, Captain, Chen ordered. On the main view screen, a barely visible distortion wave emanated from the Intrepid, passing through space like a ripple in water. When it reached the indomitable Will, the flagship's elegant organic hull suddenly compressed along one side, as if crushed by an invisible hand. Shield energy flared desperately against the impossible attack, but the gravity distortion simply bypassed the defensive barrier, affecting space itself rather than anything traveling through it. Direct hit, Ramirez confirmed, his voice tight with controlled excitement. Their primary power distribution network is failing. Their shields are fluctuating across all frequencies. Chen opened a channel to all EDF vessels, all ships, commence attack pattern Chimera. Focus on propulsion and weapons systems. Remember, we want surrender, not annihilation. The human fleet moved with coordinated precision that belied their supposedly primitive status. Ships paired off to target individual Confederation vessels, firing conventional weapons at shield generators identified by comprehensive scans, while the larger vessels deployed more gravity lances at reduced power. On the indomitable Will's command deck, chaos reigned. Damage reports flooded in from all systems as the ship listed to port, artificial gravity fluctuating wildly. What kind of weapon did they use? Thornvell demanded, clinging to his command chair as another impact shuddered through the vessel. Unknown, Admiral, the science officer replied, his composure cracking. It appears to be some form of localized gravitational distortion, but that technology should be beyond. Spare me what should be impossible, Thornvell snapped. What of the battle group? Admiral Ziakor's normally composed features showed open alarm as she reviewed tactical data. 11 vessels reporting critical damage to propulsion systems. 3 have lost shields entirely. The humans are. They're targeting with impossible precision, Admiral. Somehow they know exactly where to hit us. Another impact rocked the flagship, and emergency lighting bathed the command deck in pulsing amber. "Primary power core destabilizing," reported the engineering officer. "Containment fields at 60% and falling." Thornvell stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His 16 capital ships, the pride of the Confederation, were being systematically disabled by a species that by all rights should have been overwhelmed in the first moments of battle. How? He demanded of no one in particular. How could we have been so wrong about their capabilities? Admiral Ziakor moved to his side, her voice low. "They deceived us deliberately, Admiral. They showed us obsolete technology, led us to underestimate them. And we obliged." Before Thornvell could respond, the communications officer called out, "Incoming transmission from the human command vessel." The view screen activated to show Captain Yoshida of the Intrepid. Unlike Commander Chen's diplomatic demeanor, the captain projected cold, military efficiency. "Confederation vessels," she stated without preamble. "Your fleet is surrounded and outgunned. Your power cores are destabilizing, and we've neutralized your FTL capabilities. You have two options: power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or force us to continue this demonstration." Thornvell's facial ridges flushed dark with humiliation and rage. "You expect the Galactic Confederation to surrender to primitives? This is one battle group of thousands. When the Confederation learns of this treachery, they already know," Yoshida interrupted, and the view expanded to show tactical displays of 3 other star systems. In each, Confederation monitoring stations were surrounded by human vessels that had apparently appeared from nowhere. "We've simultaneously neutralized your forward bases at Ta Ceti, Epsilon Eridani, and Lytton's Star. The Confederation High Council has already received our terms." The implication was clear. Humanity had not just prepared for this confrontation. They had coordinated a galaxy-wide strategic operation that the Confederation hadn't detected until it was too late. Admiral Ziakor stepped forward. "What are your terms, human?" Yoshida's expression remained impassive. "Recognition of Earth and all its colonies as sovereign territory, non-interference in human expansion, and technological exchange on equal terms, not as superiors to inferiors, but as equals." "Equals." Thornvell spat the word. "You ambushed us. You used deception and trickery instead of facing us honorably." For the first time, Yoshida's composure cracked, a flash of genuine anger crossing her features. "Honorably. You brought 16 capital ships to subjugate what you thought was a defenseless outpost. Your entire diplomatic mission was a sham designed to assess our weaknesses before you conquered us." She leaned forward. "We simply let you believe you'd found them." The aftermath of what would later be called the Battle of Proxima Centauri sent shockwaves through the Galactic Confederation. The humanity they had dismissed as primitive had not only defeated one of their elite battle groups, but had simultaneously neutralized 4 strategic outposts across multiple star systems. In the diplomatic chamber aboard Proxima Station, Commander Chen sat across from a significantly humbled Ambassador Vexer. Gone were his condescending neural patterns, replaced by the subdued flickering of one reassessing everything he thought he knew. "Your quantum-fold technology," Vexer said, breaking a long silence. "It violates what we believed were universal constraints on matter transportation." Chen nodded. "Just as your biomimetic engineering capabilities exceed our understanding of organic-synthetic integration. There's much we could learn from each other, Ambassador, if the Confederation can accept that different evolutionary paths can lead to different but equally valid technological solutions." "And the gravity lance?" Vexer couldn't quite keep the apprehension from his voice. "A technology we hope never to use again," Chen replied firmly. "We developed it as a defensive measure, not as a means of conquest." Vexer studied her with new respect. "The Confederation has not faced a true technological peer in over 3,000 cycles. It has made us arrogant." "Humanity has its own history of arrogance," Chen acknowledged. We've learned the hard way that assuming technological superiority often blinds you to innovative approaches from unexpected sources. The ambassador's neural filaments shifted to a pattern Chen had never seen before, one her translator identified as indicating deep contemplation. The High Council has accepted your terms, Commander. Earth and its colonies will be recognized as sovereign territory. Non-interference will be guaranteed, and technological exchange will proceed on equal terms. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Then perhaps something positive can come from this confrontation after all. There is one thing I still do not understand, Vexar admitted. Our intelligence suggested your species only achieved FTL travel 30 cycles ago. Yet the technologies you deployed suggest a much more advanced civilization. Chen's expression grew serious. 30 cycles ago, Ambassador, we detected your observation vessels in our solar system. We've known about the Confederation much longer than you've known about us. Every piece of technology we showed you was carefully selected to create a specific impression. Vexar's neural filaments rippled with shock. You've been watching us. Just as you watched us, Chen confirmed. The difference is, we didn't assume we were superior simply because we saw something unfamiliar. As the formal treaty negotiations proceeded, Grand Admiral Thornvell watched from the holding area, where the senior Confederation officers were detained pending exchange. His luminescent patterns had dimmed to nearly nothing, the physical manifestation of his profound disillusionment. You were right to be cautious, he admitted quietly to Admiral Ziakor. I should have heeded your concerns. Ziakor's compound eyes reflected the station lights as she turned to him. It wasn't caution we lacked, Admiral. It was perspective. We saw their technology through the lens of our own development and found it wanting because it didn't follow our path. A mistake we won't make again, Thornvell murmured, watching the humans move efficiently around the station. He had called them children playing at warfare. Now he understood. They hadn't been playing at all. Throughout the station, humans and Confederation representatives began the long process of establishing a new relationship between their civilizations. The Confederation had entered Proxima space expecting an easy demonstration of their superiority. Instead, they had received a humbling lesson. In the vast galaxy, technological advancement took many forms, and underestimating an unfamiliar approach could have devastating consequences. The humans' angular, seemingly primitive warships now moved in formation alongside the elegant Confederation vessels, different in every way, yet undeniably equal in the power they commanded. A new era of galactic politics had begun, catalyzed by the moment when the Confederation laughed at human warships, until they saw one in action.